Hello again, Paper Demons! Today I'm going to be sharing with you some practical tips to help you get started on that creative project. If you're new to paperdemon.com or to my channel, welcome to the community. I'm Bogus Red and I'm here to help motivate you to become more awesome. In my last video, 5 ways you're sabotaging yourself as a creator, I explained the many reasons why we sabotage our growth and productivity. In this video, I'm going to continue that story by covering some practical tips that you can use to overcome those hurdles. Whether you are experiencing a creative block of not having created anything in a long time, or you have left yourself a trail of unfinished projects in your wake, this video is to help you pick up that project again and get it done. I have indeed navigated these treacherous waters before, and here are some of the strategies that I've used to pick up that pencil again and start creating again. One key point I want you to keep in mind throughout this is through the act of creating, your confidence will grow and your motivation will increase. Just like I talked about in the previous video, it is through action that you create motivation, not the other way around. Tip number 1, web surf. Give yourself permission to do a little Googling. It's not procrastination, it's actually productive. Take a little time to read some articles or watch videos related to a topic on what you're creating something for. For example, if you're creating a comic or an illustration or writing a story that is in a fantasy genre, for example, you might draw some inspiration from stories or history from medieval time. You might read some books on the topic, look up some pictures of castles. Fun fact, Game of Thrones is actually based loosely off of the War of Roses from our own history. The reason why this is really effective is because it's super easy. It's very low friction, it can get you started creating right away without a lot of effort. And through the act of doing this researching, it can inspire you to take further action later. Tip number 2, interview friends, family, or strangers. Several months ago, I attended a writer's workshop and learned this really easy technique that can be used for inspiring your next story or character. The way it works is you spend 5 minutes interviewing someone who you may not know very well. This could be a friend, a family member, or someone you've just met. It doesn't really matter. And ask them to tell you more about what kind of work they do, something about their childhood or some memory that they have, and guaranteed there will be something in there that sparks your interest, which can then be used as the basis for an original character or a story. Fun fact, the personality of one of the main characters in my new animated series Dragon Ball Quest is actually verbatim based off of a friend of mine. You never know where you will find inspiration. Now, you don't have to make a big deal out of this by scheduling time to do this hour-long interview or anything like that. It can simply just be being at a social event and, spending 5 minutes being curious and asking someone some questions. Tip number 3, start a collection. This tip goes hand in hand with the previous 2. Through your process of researching, you're gonna find a lot of stuff that's not gonna be very useful to you, but there are gonna be a few nuggets in there that do inspire you or give you an idea that you can use later. So it's really important to invest some time in collecting these things together, and this is also an easy getting started task. You can set aside some time to put together a little notebook and just put together those ideas in some organized way that makes sense to you. This collection might take many different forms, maybe even more than one. For example, you might have a folder on your computer with a bunch of images in it. You might use Pinterest and have a Pinterest board. You might have a physical notebook where you write down your ideas, or a sketchbook where you sketch out your ideas, or a digital notebook. I actually have a digital notebook that I use specifically for all of my ideas for YouTube videos and for ideas for challenges for Paper Demon. And it's really important for me because when it comes to time to do the next video, I can go back and reference that notebook, see which of those ideas pops out at me or sounds interesting to me, and then I'm off to the races. Spending that time to get organized or get your ideas and thoughts together will pay off at the time later down the road when you're ready to take further action on it. Additionally, this task is a really easy task. It's something that you can get started doing. You can spend 5 or 10 minutes on it or more, and the act of doing it will help to inspire you to perhaps go further with it. Hey, if you're finding this video useful so far, please give it a like. Tip number 4, use Pomodoros. This tip is especially useful if you find yourself in a position where you know what you need to do, but you just are having trouble doing it. Perhaps you have a larger project that you're overwhelmed by, and I talked about this as a common thing that happens. I've been overwhelmed with the animated series Dragon Ball Quest, which I've been working on for 10 years now, and I'm finally releasing it next month. Yay, I'm so excited. It can be really overwhelming. You've got this really big project, you know exactly what you need to do, but there's just so many things to do that it freezes you from doing anything. So with Pomodoros, you're kind of changing your metric of success instead of your metric of success being completing it, you're just moving the metric of success to time-based progress. The way Pomodoros work is you set a timer for 25 minutes. You work on the task or you work on your creating during that 25 minutes, and then you take a 5-minute break. And then you repeat this cycle. Usually after 3 or 4 of these, you'll take a longer break. Now, if 25 minutes feels way too long to you, you can modify this. You can do 10 minutes of working and then a 3 to 5 minute break. And while it may, I'm sure there's some of you out there that are gonna say, you can't get anything done in 10 minutes. Well, just the act of doing even a little bit can be enough to make you feel some sense of confidence and to keep going. And eventually you might not even use the Pomodoros anymore. This happens to me quite frequently where I'll start off doing Pomodoros for the first, hour of a task. And then after that, I don't really need it anymore. I keep going without the need for breaks or timing. And at the end of your working session, even though your creative project may not be finished, you'll have that sense of accomplishment. You'll feel good about yourself of having completed something. And that good feeling is going to be enough to help motivate you the next day. You'll have built some confidence in your reserves, which will help you the next day with creating. So to do Pomodoros, you can use a simple timer or clock app that's on your phone, or you can use apps that are specifically for Pomodoros. I have some links in the description below. Tip number 5, touch it. My coach Brett Thornhill has given me advice many times in the past to help me when I've been procrastinating on something. And one of the pieces of advice he's given me quite frequently is to just touch it. Have the intent to just spend a minute looking at it, touching it in your hands. Or if this is something that's digital, maybe it's just opening it on your computer. And the reason this is effective is it's so easy. It takes away all of those barriers to getting started and is enough to actually get you to do something. Oftentimes, you'll open it up, and while you're there, you'll tell yourself, well, since I'm here, I might as well do a little bit of this or do a little bit of that. One way that you can simply touch a project is to review where you left off. So if you have a large project, perhaps the large animated series you've been working on for 10 years, and you haven't touched it in a long time, just take some time to see where you left off. See what the last thing you created for it was. Just to give you another practical example of this, when I was first writing this video, I was originally planning to use some live stream footage that I had, and I was procrastinating on working on the video. I wasn't inspired. I wasn't really happy with the live stream that I had made, but I told myself, I'm just gonna touch it. I'm just gonna review the footage. I'm just gonna watch it and see what's there. And the act of watching it was enough to inspire me to take the next step. I ended up writing 3 YouTube videos that day. We've run out of time in this video, but in the next video I'm going to continue this series and cover some more tips. Really quickly, just to review, the 5 tips to help you get started on your project are web surf, interview friends, family, or strangers, collect ideas, Pomodoro, and touch it. Be sure to join my mailing list because I do have a part 2 coming out with 5 additional tips. I've been creating like a madwoman lately, working on my Dragon Ball Quest animated series, which is kind of why these videos have been coming out a little slower lately. But I'm super excited about it. Join the mailing list and you'll get access to an early preview of that series. Let me know in the comments what's one thing you're gonna do right now to get started. I hope you found this video useful. Until next time. Don't forget to click like and subscribe.